everyone, so today I am opening up May's Sketchbox, and I didn't know what was inside of this. I remember when I first started receiving these boxes, I would take a tiny peek inside before I filmed because I was just too excited to see what it was, but I don't do that anymore, so I was completely surprised to see that there was Daniel Smith watercolors inside. I've never tried these before. They've always been on my list of watercolors I wanted to try, but they always seemed too expensive, or I just had other watercolors that I wanted to use and I didn't really need to get Daniel Smith ones. I had no real reason for it, I guess. So I was really excited to see that this was a watercolor box because I love watercolor, and it's always nice to get supplies that you already use, but they're like different brands, so you get to try out different ones. And it came with a nice round brush, and the handle kind of it had this like soft feel texture to it, which I really liked. And I usually have to use other colors when I do these art box videos, but I actually managed to use the ones that it came with. So I used the red Ecoline pen. It was an Ecoline watercolor marker. I've only ever used the ink before, so I used that for the red because the watercolors that it came with was yellow, blue, and green, which is kind of weird because the yellow and blue make green, so why wouldn't you just give us red instead of green? But it was still like a nice green. I just wish it was red, but I used the Ecoline for the red. They didn't really mix too well together because the surface was actually watercolor canvas, which was really interesting to try. The canvas absorbed color kind of weird, so like when you would lift color off, the Ecoline would stay there because I guess like Ecoline tends to be more permanent than actual watercolor. So if you mix that red into any of your colors, it was always going to kind of stay put way more than the other ones, and you might accidentally lift off other colors and there was this like red hue underneath. There was also a Faber-Castell gray watercolor pen, which I actually really liked the color of. It was a nice warm, almost like greenish. I know green is a cool color, but it was like a warm, like yellowy green sort of gray color, and it just worked nicely with the warm yellows I had. So I started to like sketch it out first because I had to plan what it was, and I ended up drawing a goose character, just like a cute little animal, just to kind of get used to watercolor again, because I've been doing digital art for a really long time. If any of you have been following my Instagram, I've been posting mermaids throughout the whole month of May. May is over now. I can't believe I'm saying that, but May is over. I have to do quite a few more. I'm allowing myself to go into June because there's no way I can keep up one drawing a day for mermaids because I have other projects on the go right now. But the mermaids are going to be made into a print book. So if you are interested in getting that book, you can kind of go to my Instagram and see like what the kind of art that's going to be in it. It's going to be a square booklet of all of my mermaid drawings. And I'm basing them off of aquarium like pets, that like aquarium, like freshwater aquarium fish and other things that I like or that I want to have, or just like cool things that I wanted to turn into a mermaid. So there's like shrimp and snails and different kinds of like betta fish and tetras and all that kind of stuff, and like crayfish. So I've been turning those into mermaids, and it's been a lot of fun. I feel like I'm learning a lot with digital art, and I kind of wish I'd been filming the process for it, but I've just been putting the time lapse of all of them on Patreon. I've only done part 1. There's gonna be like 3 parts because I'm breaking them into like groups of 10. So like the first 10, the next 10, and then like the next 11, I guess, because there's 31 days and not 30 days in May. So if you do want to see those, it's on my Patreon. Another project I'm working on that's going to come after the mermaid book, because the mermaid book is sort of like a test project. I'm doing an actual book, which is kind of weird to say, but it's sort of like a children's book, but it's going to be about backpack animals, and I'm also updating about that on Patreon, but I might update elsewhere also, just so you can kind of see my progress throughout it. I kind of want to film myself working on it and post a couple of like videos related to that specific project because I've never really done anything like this before, and I wanted to spend my summer doing it because I just wanted to see what it was like and sort of like work out the kinks because I've never done a book before. So I do plan to share my progress with that kind of throughout the summer as I work on it. I have done quite a lot, so I need to sort of like film what I've done and talk about it and say, I just kind of want to do sort of like a vloggy project based sort of video about that project. I also want to do one about Mermaid. There's like different things I want to film and I can't really like figure out how I want to show them while they're still interesting and not just like a vlog. I don't know. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in or like suggestions you might have for ways I could film that or show that, or what kinds of things you want to see, I guess. Also, I got a new phone. I haven't got a new phone in a really long time. I decided to, like, if I'm gonna spend the money on a phone, I wanted to get a really nice phone because I haven't really had like a super good phone. I've always had sort of like budget or mid-tier phones, and you definitely don't need like an amazing phone. But I got the Samsung Galaxy S10 and it has a really nice camera on it, so I decided to do some test shots in this video with it, and I actually like them way more than my camera, which is kind of weird because I thought my camera would still look nicer, but maybe I'll see how it looks when it's full screen. But my camera has this problem with making everything super warm. Maybe I need to reset my white balance again, but it's always like, I don't know, just the way it picks up color, it tends to like overexpose shots and the edges of the lens are a bit blurred just because of the lens that it came with. Maybe I could get a different lens for it and that might fix some of the issues, but I know nothing about camera lenses and they're really expensive. So I don't know if it'd be worth it to get a different camera or a different lens, but I'm not going to do that anytime soon because I just got my phone and that camera is pretty nice for side angles. Like it surprised me how nice the shots are. So it's going to be a lot easier for me to kind of share my art on the go and film things on the go and not always have to have like a bulky camera next to me. I can just pick up my phone and kind of show you what I'm doing. So I'm really excited about the possibilities with that. I'm glad I opted for the beefier phone, I guess. I didn't get the S10 Plus or the S20 because it seemed like too much. I just didn't need that. I didn't want to spend that much. So I thought it was a good compromise and I didn't want the screen to be too huge, so I'm really happy with what I got. I also added a new thing on my Patreon. I keep talking about Patreon, but I added a podcast every month on there for the Budgie and Greyhound tiers. So if you want to hear like a 20 to 30 minute podcast every month of me just like answering questions and talking about stuff, that's over there. And there's also newsletters I post at the end of every month summarizing stuff. I post sketches throughout it, and there's also physical packages you can get mailed to you, so like a print, stickers, and a collectible field journal page that I make every month about something new, and they can kind of come together to form a book. But you don't need every single page. You can have it out of order. It doesn't really matter. They're more of like prints that you can collect, but they go together. It's like a series. So check that out if you want. That's my last time talking about Patreon in this video. So I did have a lot of fun painting this. I was trying to decide what media I wanted to do for my book, for the backpack animal book. And I was thinking like, I should just do digital because I've been really liking it lately. And then after doing this video, I kind of decided more on traditional and watercolor because I want to level up my watercolor skills. It definitely takes a lot more setup and cleanup and prep work to do watercolor than it does digital. Digital just has this ease to it. It's harder for different reasons though. It's hard to get natural looking textures and it's harder to finish pieces digitally, I find, because you can just like get caught up in every little detail, change a million things. Traditional is more immediate and you can kind of see what it looks like in real life, like as you're working on it, where digital, when you print it, it'll look different than it looks on the screen. So I think for the book, I am going to be doing traditional. I need to figure out how exactly I want to handle the watercolor. I'm thinking of doing my normal style with pencil and watercolor and gouache, but just trying to like just elevate it and make it better and just spend a little more time on each illustration because it's going to be in the book. I don't even know if people are going to buy the book, but I just really want to make one, especially considering I'm also doing a mermaid print book. So that's like 2 books in one summer, which is probably too ambitious of me or too much to ask of like people to actually buy both of them. So if you feel like you want to choose between the 2, just know there's a second book coming. So if you'd rather buy that than the mermaid one, then you know there's like 2 sort of options, I guess, that will be coming. I hope the book will be coming. I hope nothing will delay it. I hope that the whole situation allows me to ship things. I've been having pretty good luck with shipping stuff right now. There's a few countries that don't accept mail from Canada, and I have to wait a couple of months before they start accepting mail from Canada again. So most countries are getting their stuff though, so that's good. So this watercolor canvas kind of reminds me of this clay watercolor surface we had in a different Sketchbox. The one where I did the dragon drawing. That might have been the first Sketchbox I ever opened. But I remember just being like, this is a really weird surface. Like the clay absorbed it weird and the colors looked a little matte. It was kind of interesting. But I think I preferred this watercolor canvas over it. I'm just not sure how it lifts because of the Ecoline pen like I was telling you about. It absorbs that a lot more readily than the watercolor. So I would want to try it with just watercolor and see how that looks. I do want to do videos where I kind of take you with me through the process of what I'm doing. I think that would be a cool thing to show just so I can look back on how I was doing this project and how I was handling everything. And it might be interesting to see like me attempting this for the first time. Well, I've already been doing it for a month, but now that I'm starting to like get a groove, I guess. Yeah, those are all the things I've been doing and that I am working on right now. I'll keep you updated when things are available to like pre-order and everything like that, and I'll keep posting videos and let me know if you've been drawing or what you've been working on. I hope you enjoyed watching this and that you were able to draw with me or just put me on in the background just to hear me ramble about all of this. I don't even really remember what I talked about. So thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.